keep them in business. He gave the money to the local Domino's pizza restaurant so they could buy cheese and bread and keep their business in business. And those are just things I thought the world needed to know about Donald Trump, because the Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them. But when you look at the fruits of his life and all the people he's provided jobs, I think that's the true test of somebody's Christianity. I think just the personal generosity. I noticed at the debate in Charleston the other night, he was the only candidate who came down off the stage and greeted the crowd personally, posed for pictures. Everybody else was too important, too busy, too tired. And that's the kind of thing that, we've been promised as evangelicals and conservatives. So many promises have been made to us by career politicians over the last few decades. I told the crowd this morning, the polls seem to indicate this, as the founding fathers believed that this country should be governed by citizen legislators. And I think the polls are starting to indicate that the American public want to see somebody who has succeeded in real life, not career politicians. And I think that's why he's surging.
I've heard that story about the giving away the money. In fact, I may have even reported it here.
Yes.
And I thought that was really cool, because it wasn't just that. There were a lot of other things, and he mentioned a lot of them. I think the biggest thing that's telling about all of this is not that, oh, look, he gives. It's that he's done it and made no effort whatsoever to get the attaboy from anybody.
Right.
He doesn't go around talking about how, hey, man, I paid off this guy's mortgage. He'd never say it.
No.
Which is very interesting. It tells you about his character. And that's what's the most important.
Well, but wasn't that National Review saying that he doesn't have something?
Well, unless this guy's lying.
Right. Well, but he'd be in trouble with the Lord if he was lying.
Well, I mean, you don't. What is that? Bear false witness or something? I guess I don't know.
So you and I were talking last night about this poll that came out from the Drudge Report.
Oh, that was an eye opener, because I didn't see what the breaking news was on it until I looked at it for a while, and then I realized.
So I posted this poll, and I wrote on our blog, sickbias.com. I wrote, as a personally responsible American, somebody better edit that. As a responsible American who is currently working, supporting a family, my greatest fear is that our freedom and our sovereignty will be stolen from us by the socialist communist left. There is no freedom in social programs, only tyranny and control. As 2016 begins, the United States starts to lose their sovereignty, self-governance, because the politicians that were elected to protect us or doing the opposite are allowing the invasion of the illegals from the South, the North, and the East, as well as overloading social programs, which is a socialist communist idea from the 70s from Cloward and Piven. This poll taken by Matt Drudge of the Drudge Report is probably the scariest poll I have ever seen. You have the communist Bernie Sanders neck and neck with the capitalist Donald Trump. Who wins? The communist or the capitalist? It is amazing how socialism is winning.
Well, the propaganda works. And apparently the Soviet Union knew that, and that's why they were so good at propaganda, because they knew how effective it was. I mean, the only way you could sell what they were selling. Yeah. The only way you can get anybody to buy into that is with that kind of propaganda. I mean, marketers that market for capitalism, which is commercials and stuff like that, could be a print ad, or it could be something you hear on the radio, or it could be a commercial that you see on TV. They know how effective it is.
Oh, yeah.
You got to tell people, buy today, buy now, call now. Operators are standing by.
End of the year sale, buy now before the prices go up. And then 2 weeks later in January, weekend sale, 2-day sale. I'm like, huh?
My favorite.
You guys just told me 2 weeks.
My favorite is up to 90% off.
Up to
90% off. So you show up and you're like, nothing is more than 10% off. What the heck is going on here?
There's a wet paper bag back there in the back. it got watered on, and that's 90% off.
Oh, we're out of it, though. We're out of it. It was on sale before.
You see that trash can with all that stuff in there? I'll give it to you 90% off.
Oh, my God.
No. Not the trash can.
The
trash.
Well, what's the price? How much was it?
It don't matter.
It was
it's
$1,000. No, it's 90% off.
I had it all up. It was 1,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So, top of the poll, this is across the board for president. Across the board, whoever goes to Matt Drudge, to Drudge Report, and took the poll. 33.8% for Trump. Bernie Sanders in second for 31.
That's kind of scary.
The next closest person is Cruz at 19.
Well, let me tell you this, and I'll give you the good news after I tell you this.
Okay.
Us older people, everybody older than millennials. Did I just age us?
I am a millennial.
Brian is losing his mind.
I'm a millennial.
Okay, people who are not millennials because they're older than millennials, all of us, all the way up till 90 years old, I don't care what your politics are, we're all just like, what is with these millennials and communism? We just do not. It's really hard. Like, we have to come up with theories as to why you guys are so brain dead.
Well, it comes from the schooling. They were raised in the
totally
schools.
Propaganda.
Right.
That's our theory. Our theory is that years and years and years ago, communists took over the Department of Education and decided to use it as the most important wing of the propaganda arm of the communist movement in America. The other one being the media.
Yeah, so we can get those mush minds and turn them into mush.
You got the media, but the most important, because you want to get them started early. You want to get them to understand the merits of communism.
So when they say pre-kindergarten, Head Start.
Oh, they're making it mandatory now.
Head Start. So when your child is 2, you've got to send them to a head. I'm going to tell you right now, my kids stayed at home, still at home. And
they're locked in the cellar.
Yeah, they don't socialize. No. You know what I found out, freakishly? My kids have a very extensive vocabulary.
Interesting.
Because they speak with adults all day.
Yeah, the potty mouth, right? No, I'm just kidding. they're like drunken sailors, I'm telling you.
Oh, and my kids running around the room.
And they are drunk. They are actually drunk.
Oh, son of a...
Bleep.
Well, they don't say the bleep. They just scream son of a.
Oh, anyway.
Or they do the, for sake.
They do?
No, they don't do that.
Oh, okay.
But I was told to stop doing that because I got that from you. Oh, I got that from you.
Are you the only one that got it from me, or is there other family members here?
Maybe. You never know.
Anyway, so if you read the Communist Manifesto, it flat out tells you that the state should take your children.
Right.
That the state should take them at a very, very, very young age and raise them on your behalf for the good of the state.
Correct. And they will decide where they should go and what they should do.
And what they should learn and how they become a cog in the big communist wheel.
So the American dream? There isn't
the
one.
Nuclear family?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No,
it takes a village. One. It takes a megapolis. It takes an empire. It takes an empire to raise a child. Is basically what their argument is.
Correct. So tell everybody the good news of all of that.
Well, so the bad news is that we can't figure out what we can't figure out why everybody wants a communist as the president. The good news is that if you understand the dynamics of the race, there's going to be people that are going to drop out. And as they drop out, the people that supported them, and in this particular poll, supported people that may in the future drop out, they will have to pick somebody else to support.
Right.
Well, who's in third? And at what percent?
Cruz is in third at 19.
Okay, so who do they go to when Cruz drops out?
Rubio at 2.
Is fourth?
So is that 2 yet?
Who's in fourth?
Rand Paul at 3.
Rand Paul's in fourth place.
Right, at
with
3%.
And then who's in
Carson at 1.
Okay. So that's like 3 total.
And then there's
between
a handful in between there, Kasich and all those guys. And then Bush, 0.91.
Well, forget about Bush. I got to get to my good news.
Hillary, 0.9.
That was the big headline. But that wasn't the good news. The good news is that if you add up all the people who are going to vote left no matter what, so that if they're supporting Cruz or Rubio or Bush,
I see what you're saying.
They're all going to go to Trump.
Okay.
And if you add up all the ones besides Bernie who were going to vote left no matter what,
0.9.
it's negligible.
Right, 0.9.
But that so the good news is that as this hashes out, Trump's numbers are going to get larger and larger and larger. I just can't see that if Bernie Sanders stays the front runner on the left, that Cruz supporters, which amount to 18% of this poll, are going to say, you know what? If I can't have Cruz, I'm going to Bernie Sanders? How is that even?
No, that doesn't happen.
Right.
Unless you are Glenn Beck.
Oh,
I know that I won't go to the polls. I won't vote for Hillary Clinton, and I won't vote for Donald Trump. I just won't. And I know a lot of people that feel that way. I know there's a lot of people in the GOP who are like, look, he's better than Hillary Clinton. Maybe. I don't know.
Who's he talking about?
Glenn Beck.
No, who's he
Donald Trump.
Oh, I thought he was making a case for Bernie Sanders.
He actually probably was. He said he's not voting for Hillary or Trump.
Which means Bernie Sanders?
He has said on his show many, many times, I respect Bernie Sanders.
because he
tells us who he is.
Yeah, he tells us who he is. Right. But I'm not accusing Beck of saying that he would ever vote for the communist. But what I am saying is that if you don't vote for the guy who's nominated for the GOP, you are voting for the communist.
Right.
Period.
Washington Post headline: Who had the worst week? ? An entire article dedicated to Hillary Clinton.
Oh, well, going back to the poll, here's the shocking breaking news.
I couldn't
no, that's a good segue, sort of, going back to it. Less than 1% of the people.
0.9.
Okay, this is Matt Drudge. Isn't that like a right-winger?
Yes, but 31% voted for Sanders.
That's scary.
That's very scary.
33% of people who go to Matt Drudge are Bernie Sanders supporters.
33 Trump. 31. 33 Trump, 31 Bernie.
31% of Matt Drudge readers are communists. They don't even know it.
They don't know it that way. I have in-laws that are young, still in their 20s, I think, maybe high 20s.
High 20s.
Late 20s.
Okay.
They post stuff about Bernie Sanders all the time.
Okay,
and they're women, and it's very scary because he looks like that creepy old dude, that Bernie.
Okay, so here's another weird thing about Bernie Sanders. These young millennials, they actually this is the strategy. You ready for the GOP strategy? This is the GOP strategy. Bernie Sanders followers, all low information millennials, your typical Howard Dean grassroots type of movement,
right,
for today's communists.
Right.
They all believe, because they're completely moronic and they just don't know ideologies. They just don't. It was like when I was in my 20s. Somebody called me a bleeding heart liberal, and I said, no, I'm not. When in actuality, I was.
Right.
But I didn't know. And just like these guys don't know, guess what they think Bernie Sanders is going to do for them as president? They think he is going to reduce government.
Yes.
What is that?
Or actually take care of them more.
They think that
it's going to get better under him.
They think that he's going to reduce the bloated, oversized, inefficient government, and that he's going to make it more efficient and smaller.
Okay, check this out.
If that's true, then the strategy going forward for the GOP is to expose that they're out of their minds. If you want smaller, less intrusive government with more freedom, then Bernie Sanders is the last person you should be picking.
However, I'd pick Bernie Sanders over Barack Obama. I don't think Bernie Sanders would spend